only watch this video and the series that comes after it if you are wanting to make some big changes in your life. If you're looking for a transformative process that works, that's been proven to work for over a decade and has helped transform the lives of over 10,000 people, then you're in the right place. Guys, the following series of videos is a program that we consistently run called Warrior Activated. Now, we typically run this program live, but I wanted to make sure that you had the recordings for this program. This first video will lay out the precise steps that is necessary to achieve your biggest goals. The entire Warrior Activated course is 6 days long, so you're going to get access to 6 videos, and I want you to watch this first one. In this first video, you'll see what our framework is about, what the philosophy is. You'll understand why the warrior archetype is so important and why men in our modern world right now need to be activating him. Then we'll give you precise steps and practices that you can employ in your life right now to enhance the inner power that represents that warrior. Guys, the men who do this program see results. So watch these videos, practice what we are putting forth, and let us know what your specific outcomes are. So go to it, watch this first video, and I can't wait to see you on the inside. Big love, guys. My brothers, my name is Todd Jason, and welcome into Warrior Activated. And actually, welcome into the Man for Man community. No matter how you found us, whether you were referred here by a friend or you came to one of our community nights, or you just happened to find us on social media, I'm really happy that you found this community and this brotherhood. We're really doing some incredible work. And as you've probably already seen, there's a bunch of things going on this platform. There's meetings that we run. There's guys sharing ideas. There's different groups and topics. But you're here into this Warrior Activated 6-part program. And I want to welcome you here into this curriculum. Because while there's an amazing mission and vision that we have for Man in general, and again, guys, this is really a universe where men are coming in here to grow together, to help one another become great, to help one another kind of unleash the best versions of themselves. There's a lot of accountability that we do in our programs and our groups. And this is what the Man for Man universe is all about. And while we built this platform, but this particular part, the Warrior Activated, is important because embedded in Man for Man is an ethos and a philosophy and a core curriculum. And this is the first step. And as you're going to hear, this process is not just something that we made up. We didn't go out on the internet and find some cool practices and put them together and try to, enroll you in these ideas. This is something that for us, and for me particularly, has been living very deeply within me for over 20 years, because I've been doing this kind of work, development and growth, for 20 years. And over the last several, focusing on men, on brothers. And when we come together and we go through a process like you're about to go through, amazing things happen. So welcome into the Man for Man universe, and welcome into Warrior Activated, a specific lineage of teaching and practices that are going to help you move the needle in your life. And look, guys, at the end of the day, that's why you're here. You're here to make some form of change, whether it's in your relationships, it's in your career, whether you want to make some more money, whether you want to shed some pounds and get jacked again and get in shape, get some more energy, or maybe it's just mindset. Maybe you just want to wake up and feel happy and better. You are in the right place, okay? Not only within Man for Man, but particularly this 6-part journey that you can take for the next 6 days, okay? So this course is yours. It's free. You'll have access to this in perpetuity as you're on the platform. It's practice oriented, and it's designed to help you make tangible changes in your life. Okay, so guys, let's kind of jump in. I want to talk more about Warrior Activated now that you're here and you understand what this is. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get into some more details. Warrior Activated 6-day live challenge for men to unleash the warrior within. Now, brothers, historically, we've taught this process live, through live communities of men. But you're in a great spot right now because you get to take this course self-paced, okay? And with that said, it's really organized. It's step-by-step. It's a cookie cutter matrix of ideas and practices. And all you need to do is follow along, come back here every day and take the next day. Okay. And we're going to talk about that here in video number 1, but let's get to it. Okay. So what's going to happen in these 6 days? Okay. First, you're going to gain access to new trainings each day. And those trainings will have a perspective or 2 and a practice, right? So this is video number 1 of day number 1. Now this video is probably a little bit longer than what we'll do going forward because we need to frame this out a little bit. And that's a really important thing, guys, because one of the things that we found over the years of doing this and moving the needle for thousands of men is that when we lay out the map and you can see the process that you're about to engage in, you can go through the changes faster. You can experience the results faster. And again, that's why you're here. You're here to experience outcomes, things that you want to have happen in your life. And so we're going to lay it out here in this first video. The ensuing videos today, there's one more that will be the first set of practices. And then all the rest of the days will be fast videos describing the practice and the idea and then moving forward. And then what you're going to do is do the assignments and then experiment with these tools in your life. Guys, that's the fun of this, that you're going to be getting things to do. And I also just want to share that this is not the kind of thing where you need to leave your job, quit your relationships, and stop doing everything to take this 6-day course. Actually, it's the opposite. This series of practices is meant to integrate into your daily life. We call it an in-the-moment training. And the reason why that's so powerful is that the changes that need to happen and the trajectory that needs to shift happens in the moments of your life. Okay, we're not sitting here on a mountaintop. You're here to make some changes in your life. So you're going to integrate these things as you're rolling along in your day-to-day. So a couple of things about the live meetings, all right? These are really important. So while you are taking this course and you have access to this training material, you'll also, as a new member of this platform, have access to 3 live meetings every week. And by the way, there's more live meetings that we do because things start to reveal themselves and there's different kinds of groups on here. But for right now, there's 3 meetings. The first is a Q&A for this course, right? So Warrior Activated every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. You have the opportunity to get on the line. We leave it open for an hour, hour and a half, whatever it takes. And you can come in, you can ask questions, you can connect with other men who are doing this work with you. And by the way, you have access to that call in perpetuity. Guys will be on that call that took this 6 months ago. They're still wanting to gain additional perspectives, right? We also run 2 additional meetings every week, okay? And they're tribes meetings. And these happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I run the Tuesday meeting, and that happens at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And my partner, Alex, he runs the Thursday meeting. And these are just amazing opportunities for you guys to come on here, to meet some of the brothers, to start to understand the power of this community. Okay, that's why we do this. So there's this curriculum, and we have one meeting that's focused on these practices, but the tribes meetings will also benefit you. And actually, what I like to do is show you on the platform where you can RSVP for these meetings. So here you are in the Warrior Activated 6th day, and you obviously found yourself here because you're taking the course. What you want to do is go, not now, but do this later, back to the main network and click home, and you'll see a tab that says events. Now, this is a really good place for you to know on the platform because in the events, you're going to see the Thursday Tribes meeting, the Warrior Coaching meeting, and the Tuesday Tribe meeting. And what I want you to do after this video is to go into these meetings, look at them, and then RSVP to them, all right? These events all have the Zoom links. It's amazing, okay? This whole platform is just dialed in, and you have access to a community now, right? Like, I hope you're excited. It's a community of guys that are supporting each other, and it really comes to life in these meetings. So go ahead and RSVP, okay? So that is that, and we're gonna keep moving on. And let's talk specifically about this 6-day journey, okay? So right now we're in day 1. This video, we're framing it out. And then in the second video, you're gonna get a series of routines to do in the morning and in the evening, just gonna supercharge your energy levels, right? That's what we do starting this Warrior program. Tomorrow, day 2, okay? You're gonna learn a technique about, it's the start of something called life blueprinting. And I call it master practice number 1 because it is game changing. It's one of the core pieces of wisdom in the Man for Man community that will change the trajectory of your future. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. Day 3, pattern interrupt and reprogramming. So important, right? As we're envisioning this greater life for ourselves and getting detailed about the map of making it happen, we still got to do the work of addressing our negative thinking, our negative thoughts, and start to reprogram the mind at the source of its negativity. Okay, so we're going to talk a lot about how to do that in day 3. Day number 4, we continue that life blueprinting process, and you'll see what I mean. Again, guys, there's a whole language here, which is why it's so great for you to take this course, because we talk about these things on our calls. And, day number 4 is just very, very powerful. It's master practice number 2. And then we have day 5, I highlight it, transformation day, right? And it is transformation day because in these first 5 days, we're building a narrative. We're building new muscles. Okay, you're getting more energy in your body. You're getting clearer about your future. And day 5, we put some of these pieces together. And what you'll get on that day is a very clear roadmap for how to make even your biggest dreams a reality. Okay, and it's just amazing. Day 5, make sure that you watch that on day 5. And then, not lightly, on day 6, we close this process out stronger than when we began. And that's an important point because, look, we're overwhelmed with information. I mean, even the fact that you've made it here to watch this video, that's an accomplishment, right? Like we are just being pinged everywhere. And one of the calls of the warrior is to be able to focus attention and concentrate on something and to finish things out stronger than when we began. And on day 6, we're going to close this out strong. There's actually a ritual or a ceremony that will mark symbolically the end of this part of the process for you. And guys, as men, we have that built into our DNA. We have thousands of years of history of going through processes like this together that has been virtually lost in the modern world. It's crazy, right? And we know it. That's why we have this lone wolf syndrome. Like we're all alone. We don't have real people to talk to. We're not really helping each other really move the needle in the areas that are most important. But that's what this is. Okay, so we're going to close it out really, really strong. Now, guys, take this as a challenge. It is a challenge. So even though this isn't live, take these 6 days seriously. Engage in every practice. 6 days is nothing. And as I'll say again and again, as men, we benefit from doing things with potency over short periods of time. And that's what this is. Okay, so really do your best to take this seriously because life-changing transformations are going to occur for many of you in these 6 days. That's just what happens, okay? Some of you will even activate your highest potentials in this lifetime. You're gonna get so clear around what you want for the future, and you're gonna start mapping it out, how to do it, that you're gonna feel absolutely on fire. Now, one of the core threads of this whole thing is the community, right? So right now, it's just me and you, you're on the video, and you're like, where's the community? And I know there's some nights that we have, but I'm going to give you opportunities to hear from some of the men in this process. Okay. Like in this 6 days, you'll hear from some of the men. And actually, I want to start it right now because we have a very short 1-minute reel of guys that have come through this process. And I have literally hundreds of these, but we put this together just so you can hear in their own words what they experienced by going through the warrior activated process. So take a listen.
For me, what I've gotten out of this is so much. I've got the structure back in my life. I've cleaned up some sides of the street that I had to clean up with my kid.
This has been by far the most powerful transformational experience.
This journey was fantastic. It was enlightening. It was beautiful. We're on the threshold of something big, and we're going to do this. Thank you.
I'm unstoppable. There's nothing holding me back now. And I got a lot of gratitude for y'all for helping do that. So
one of the key things about this is that we have the practices where you're actually doing the work that can produce some type of transformation.
So I started earning more money. I started growing my business. I started being more present in my relationships with women.
This was a pivotal moment right now. This pandemic found you on Facebook, little thing that seemed to be simple and whatever. Let's see how it works out at that time. I think it's been a power move in my life. So that's it.
Yeah, brother. So again, I share that with you just so you can get excited, right? You can get excited about what's possible for you. And like I said, there's hundreds of those videos. And I love what one of the gentlemen said around having the practices, right? Because while some of those guys are speaking a month or two after, and it's like, I'm making more money, is that going to happen in 6 days? Like realistically, these things take time to develop. But the practices are so foundational here that what you're doing is you're setting the seeds for real change to happen. And I think you see that in how the guys share about this process. And to get a little bit more specific, because men ask me this all the time, like, well, what are the actual outcomes that I can expect in these 6 days? Well, it's very clear. There's 3 things that really happen. Number one, you're going to experience huge increases in your physical energy. Okay. Like that is built in. Starting in video 2, we're getting right to the physical routines, the morning routines, filling your body with water, stuff that we just all need to be doing. Okay. And that's right off the bat, you'll see an increase. Number 2, clarity. Okay. We're going to get you really clear on the things that you need to be doing. And we do that in a very unique way, by thinking with the end in mind and then working backwards. Okay. We're going to get into that tomorrow, but you're going to come out of this with a very clear head. And 3, you're going to have discernment on your next steps. Okay. You're not going to be confused. You're not going to not know what to do. Okay. And I think that a lot of us feel that way. We're living in this overwhelming environment. Our minds are flooded with information. We're anxious, we're stressed. Our minds are flitting. Like it's just, we don't have focus. And here you're going to get that structure and that grounding to be able to plan out, what it is that you need to do. And where I want to start this right now with you guys is a commitment. And this is a commitment to yourself, because I want you to commit to yourself right now that this is your time, that you are going to be one of those men sending in a video like that or writing a letter to us saying, you know what, I did it this time. I did it this time, because that's what's possible for you. And actually, I want to stop my screen share for a moment, just come onto the screen here. Part of the reason why I developed this is that I needed this. I needed this so badly. And I want to give you a little bit of a backstory about me and how I came up with this process, because, it wasn't planned. And my journey really began almost 20 years ago on a very auspicious day in American history. I was living in downtown Manhattan, and on September 11th, 2001, I was late for work that day. And I heard that first plane go over my apartment. And then I, kind of ran out my window and I watched the entire aftermath unfold right in front of my eyes, to the point when the buildings fell, I had to leave my building and run away because the smoke was billowing. And yeah, even sharing it now 20 years later, it gets me somewhat emotional. And I know this was a big day, not just for me, but for so many. But personally, I watched my whole community get just disintegrated. And I watched some of my friends die, in front of my face. And, the next year I spent asking myself some bigger questions and going through a really tough process. And I was asking myself, well, who am I? Who are we? And I realized that the problems in the world weren't somewhere out there. They weren't in the Middle East. They were right here in my backyard, in front of my face. And when I started to look even deeper, I realized that the problems in the world were in here. They're in my head. I had fear, I had anxiety, I had frustration, I had anger, right? And this sent me on a journey of deep curiosity. And I started reading books on development and growth. I started following teachers. I started to go on trips and go on retreats and meditate and do all kinds of new agey things in my little apartment in New York. No one knew what I was doing. I felt like, I was on this like weird journey back then in the early 2000s. And pretty quickly, I found a career in this space because I was trained in digital marketing, and all these teachers, Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle, they needed someone like me. They needed someone to help with a newsletter, or to build a website or to do some basic marketing. And so I started working in this field, and that's how it started for me. But guys, I always considered myself a student more than anything else. I mean, it was a blessing to be able to work and support myself. But as a student of these practices, as a student of awakening, a student of how to become the best version of myself, man, that just always lived so deeply within me. I let that guide the way. And, over the course of the last 20 years, I've helped create curriculum that's reached over 10 million people. I've done all kinds of things. It's been overwhelming. It's been fun. I've worked with Tony Robbins and just so many big teachers. And about 4 years ago, I started to look at the landscape and I was like, where are the men? Where are the brothers? Because 95% of the students in all of our courses were women. And that's fine. We love women, but I was like, where are the guys? And that's when I started to take all the best techniques that I learned for so many years and put them together into a matrix of practices that could be used by men. Okay. Because I think there's a different use case for brothers, for men. And I reached out to my email list and I said, hey, does anyone want to go on a little journey with me? Okay, this was in 2016. I had all these guys come in. They paid me some money, and I started to do this series of practices that has developed and gotten very strong over the years. And that was the start of Man for Men. And now it's at the point where we have this community, and this Warrior Activated course is really dialed in. I mean, it's been vetted. We have so many thousands of men that have done this. And you're just at a great place right now because you can take advantage of all those years of hard work that we did to perfect this system. Okay. So I hope you feel good about that. And the last thing I want to share before we jump back in is that we do this thing in Man for Man, and it's kind of part of our ethos. And we kind of tap our chest and we say yes, right? And sometimes you'll be on our meetings and we'll start doing like this yes. And really what that is just a reminder. It's a reminder to say yes to ourselves, something that I call the yes moment. It's a moment in a man's life where, we decide to take ownership of our future and our current situations. Because I remember all those years of being on retreat. For many of them, I was in the back taking notes, but I wasn't that guy on stage. I wasn't participating. I was more that guy that just liked to watch and observe. And I'd watch all these people getting up there. Oh, my whole life was blown away. I can't believe this. And I was just sitting there. And it wasn't until I said, you know what, I'm going for this. I'm gonna be that guy. I want to get up there. I want to have that joy, that passion. And that's when it changed. So the yes moment and the yes, this tapping on the chest and kind of saying, yes, do it with me right now, right? It just feels good. And it's just a reminder that we can do anything that we want. This process is just going to help you unfurl that. All right. So grateful that you're here, that you're doing this with us. I mean, I'm beaming, as you know, from the inside out, because I know what's in store for you. Like, this is deep, amazing work that we're going to do. And so let's jump back in so we can get through video one to get you guys right back to the important practices. Okay. So we're back into committing to yourself, and I hope you're feeling that with me. I hope you're ready to take these next 6 days. And I want to talk about archetypes, okay? Because one of the main frameworks that we'll work with is archetypes, especially because this is a warrior activated process, and the warrior is an archetype. And the way that we'll define that word is that it represents traits or qualities or patterns in our personalities that are easily recognizable. And this is often a term used in psychology. Some of the most eminent psychoanalysts, Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, and Jung said that, certain archetypes are hardwired into our psyche. Now, that's fascinating. And I started to go deeper into that. And in our work in Man for Man, we work with the idea of 4 archetypes. And these archetypes are lenses. We all have all of these types of traits in our personalities: the warrior, the magician, the king, and the lover. And even when I say those words, you get a sense, like I can see myself as that warrior. That part of you. And that part of you that's kingly and noble. And you may know that part of you that's the lover and emotional and seeking bliss. And then, of course, the magician, the one that can do amazing things, and is so exuberant that people just gravitate towards you. So I want to take a moment and just talk about these archetypes, okay? And the warrior, and you see a picture of Mel Gibson there and him in Braveheart, and that's intentional. So while I don't personally love Mel Gibson and some of the things that he's done in his life, we see representation of these archetypes all over movies and pop culture. And that character, really represents the warrior. And, the warrior is the part of us that utilizes willpower, courage, mental strength. And he leans towards commitment, honor, and integrity, right? And you can feel that part of you that has that warrior energy. It's a big part of our male psyche, okay? Russell Crowe in Gladiator, another really, really good example, all right? So this is the part that we're working on here, but I do want to cover the other archetypes so we can start to see the distinction between these lenses. And by the way, understanding these distinctions in archetypes is helpful, because what it does is it helps us grow into our highest capacities. When we can understand the lay of the land of our mind, we can then make choices to actually accentuate the better parts of ourselves. That's why we cover this briefly. So the magician, and of course, showing Gandalf here from Lord of the Rings, that's that playful, light part of ourselves who utilizes fun and mystery. The magician achieves impossible things, right? And inspires everyone with his exuberance. And then we go to the king, right? And I'm using Lord of the Rings again because that movie does a good job at really speaking to these archetypes. And the king is the noble leader, the rock, that part of ourselves who's patient and makes wise decisions and is also connected with the greater world outside of himself. Like the warrior work that we're doing together, a lot of this is going to be about you, right? Like personal, like I need to cut through some of the stuff. The king has a connection with the external world that's a little bit stronger. And then the last piece, of course, we got Leo there on the old Titanic, right? With Kate, king of the world. But he really does represent that lover part, right? That romantic, euphoric, bliss-driven, brother, who's just emotional and drives his emotions. And again, guys, like we all have all parts of these archetypes within us. Okay. And it's just helpful to lay it out so that way we can really start focusing on the matter of it at hand, which is activating the warrior. That's our work right here. And I want to talk about why. Okay. The reason why the warrior is so important and why we do this first is that there are obvious layers of self-limitation going on in your life. That's why you're here. And the warrior is that part that can bust through it, through mental strength, through perseverance, right? And the things that we're cutting through, I call it plaque sometimes, is fear, doubt, uncertainty, boredom, inaction, ambiguity. We know it. Okay, that part that might sit on the couch at night and watch 3 hours of TV, that part of ourselves that doesn't do what we need to do, even though it might be clear what our next steps are, we don't do it. Okay, so we are activating that part here in these 6 days. That's why I wanted you to take it so seriously, because once we do that, we cut through that fat, it's pretty remarkable what happens on the other side. And actually, I just want to talk about those outcomes again. I showed this before, but in these 6 days, we're talking about an increase in physical energy, up leveling of clarity, mental clarity, and discernment on your next steps in life. Okay, warriors work. Before we get to the first practice, I just want to go a little bit deeper on the other archetypes, because this curriculum that we have in Man for Man goes a lot deeper. Actually, there's rabbit holes here that, may reveal themselves to you over time. It's really beautiful work. The magician would be that next stage, right? And what the magician does, and as a master at, is creating tangible and quantifiable things in his life. This is the part of you that actually goes out and creates stuff. Because in these first 6 days, we're going to be working on cutting through obvious limitations, okay? The magician can then come in and use the space that's created to actually go out and create wonderful things. And the way that we do this in Man for Man, and again, we're not going to go so deep into this, but we do it by taking on short-term projects and achieving them. And we do that in concert, in connection with other men, with our accountability partners, okay? And this is something that you may want to grow into. You may want to take on some projects in your own life. That could be real stuff that you're doing work-wise or health-wise or things around the house. Guys do all kinds of projects. But then taking the foundational principles and practices we're going to do in this first week and then using that to propel yourself to greater and greater heights. That's magician's work. That's where you start to create magic, all right? Really, really beautiful stuff. And then the last piece is, of course, unleashing the king. And this level just has a whole different set of responsibilities, really, and it's designed for men who really are clear. You get to that point in life where you're like, you know what? I am here to literally embody the best version of myself and to have all of my dreams come true. Like, I want this lifetime to be the one where it's all said and done. And there's a connection with, a contribution back out to society or culture. That's king's work. And there is a lineage within Man for Man that will give you that opportunity if it feels right to you. Okay. Again, our focus here is on the warrior, because what we're doing in these 6 days, my men, is handing you a sword. Okay. And that sword is this process. And what it's going to do, it's going to slice through the most obvious layers of limitation. And what will happen on the other side, and what you saw in that video of the men sharing, is that feeling of excitement. Darren said, man, I feel unstoppable. That feeling of freedom. You could feel it from the guys, right, in the videos. And that's what happens when you do this, okay? And once you're there, you can use that to make choices to actually go out and set the world on fire in a good way, all right? So that's the game we're playing. The next step is we are done with the frames, okay? And we are now going to go in to video number 2 and upload a physical routine in the morning and a little bit in the evening that's going to just massively increase your energy levels. Huge game changer for almost every man that does this. So I want you to go to video 2 right now. And then tomorrow you're going to come back and we're going to go into life blueprinting. Part of the core ethos of Man for Man is that practice tomorrow is going to really change things for you. And then we're going to take the next steps. All right. So video number 2, let me go ahead and stop my share. Video number 2 right now. Go and rock that. Make sure, my brothers, that you RSVP to those 3 meetings, the Q&A on Mondays, Tuesday tribes, Thursday tribes. Don't miss these, okay? This is where some of the magic starts to come online. It really helps to have that brotherhood and that community behind you as you're doing this, okay? So much love. I'm super excited for you guys. I'm beaming because I know it's in store for you. I know what's possible when you do this and you take it on. So go and rock it, and I'll see you in video number 2.